Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 25 books I would like to focus on in 2025. I have several books here. This is not obviously all 25 of them, but I got to carry them up and down my stairs because I film in a spare bedroom and I actually color in the living room. So let me push these to the sides and I'll go over them one by one. The first book is going to be one of these. I would like to do a Hannah Lynn. Both of these books, I've gotten a few done, and I would like to get farther along, maybe eventually finish one of them. I've worked in both of them. This first one is Fierce and Fancy Fantasy Faces. It is such a tongue twister, guys, but for me it is anyway. But this one, I don't know if it's an older book, but or a newer book. You get two images. Well, you get two copies of each image. The first one is line art. The second one is shaded. And I've done a few in this book. And I like it. You know, some of the pictures I, probably don't want to color. Yeah, and I like what I've done so far. I'm torn. I'm just torn between this book, which, I love doing portraits, and this book feels more portrait focused, like less detail than Enchanted Faces. But I do like the detail in the Enchanted Faces. So, yeah. That was the last one I did, I think was in September. And I think that's all I've done in this book. And then in Enchanted Faces, I've probably done around the same amount of pages. And this only has, I think, one of each. Yeah, one of each design. For both of these books, I like to experiment with hair color, skin color. But you see, like, this page has an enormous amount of detail. And it's very different from, let's say, this book. And this page does have some detail in the back. It's just others really don't. It's just the portrait, really. So I do enjoy doing this book as well. Yeah. But I think I like my results better in this book. And I don't know why that is. I'm going to skip over that next page because that's my January page. I've got some whips in here that I've done one in January. Yeah, I think I'm going to pick Enchanted Faces, guys. I'm happier with my results in here for whatever reason. And yeah, let me just keep going with this. Next up is a new book for me. I know she's just come out with one, but I was kind of late to the party with this one, and I really liked it. I liked the pages that I was seeing, so I bought this one instead. Since it's new, I've only done a couple of pages. One is for January, but it is a stunning book. And I like the scenery pages she started doing more of. Yeah, this has been done numerous times, and I've seen these two pages done so well by so many people. I'm probably not doing it till I can get rid of those images, but they are, I guess, fan favorites. Yeah, I really like this book. I haven't come across one image that I wouldn't like doing. I mean, so this is a beautiful book. This is the page that I did in December, and I was so happy with it. I loved working on this paper. It's amazing. But yeah, so I'm not going to flip anymore because then you'll see the pages I'm working on for January. But a beautiful book by Maria Trolle. Next up, I have Spooky by Sarah Seswick. This was a group buddy color by Christina's Art Corner. She's suspending the hashtag, but I still think I would like to work in this book. Hopefully one per month. I have gotten quite, I'll skip a little bit because then you'll see my January page. I have gotten quite a few pages done in here, and it is such a fun book. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. And it isn't just because of, you know, the small images in jars, because I've done, you know, more scenic full page images. I've colored them, like this was the last one in December, and I really enjoyed that as well. So I don't know what it is that makes one book more fun than another for me. I'm not sure if it's the paper, because I like the paper in this book. But yeah, you can see I've got quite a few pages done, and I just want to continue it. And if I can do one a month, that's 12 more. And I think the book will start looking pretty full. So excited to work in this book as well. Another book that was a surprise to me was this Best of Pop manga by Camilla Derrico. I put off buying any of her books because I really didn't know if I was going to enjoy it, especially these pages that have like this type of page, just one animal and a repetitive background. But then I saw this on someone's channel, and since this is a compilation book, it has all of her different styles in it. And I liked these pages more. I also liked the sketchy pages that she has. So there's like a few different art styles in here. So I thought it might be, you know, a good book to try. And I loved it. And the first page I did do was one of those animal pages with this repetitive print. And I will get to it, I think. And I enjoyed it so much, guys. I was shocked. Okay, now of course I can't find it. And I have done a few pages in here, maybe like 4 or 5 pages. Yeah, this was the first one I did. And he was so cute, and I just really enjoyed it. I didn't mind, you know, these repetitive circles. And I just loved the freedom I felt to not worry about a color palette. And in this page, I didn't care at all whether they matched. They actually do, but it wasn't a huge concern. And I think that freedom to color something wacky colors and, you know, just to go, you know, crazy with it turned out to be really appealing to me. You know, this was, I think the last page I did in November, I did September, November. I'm not sure I'm going to get one page a month because it is more time consuming than it looks, especially a page like this took me a lot of time to do. This was a little easier. It could have been even easier if I decided not to do some, you know, paper arts in here and add that. And yeah, but it's a fun book. And maybe if I did, you know, every 2 months, 1 page, 6 pages, you know, may make a dent. So I'm going to enjoy this one as well. Next up, I have Mouse Guard by David Peterson. And I adore this book. And it's mostly because of the paper. The paper is amazing. I've thrown water on it. I've done water-based markers. I've got different types of pencil work on here. And nothing warps. Like, this is watercolor. Most of it, I think, was a watercolor base. And the paper is not crinkled at all. And and there's no bleed through on the back. So I've done several pages. I've got a whip or two in here that I think I would like to try to complete. And maybe that's where I start. It's a book I love working on slowly, so I don't like to rush my pages here. So again, probably not one page every month, but if I can complete even one every 2 months, I'd be happy with that as well. Next book is Wildflower Folk by Christine Caron, and I would like to work this year 1 image per month. I have done several pages. Let me try to block out the one I'm working on. And I've mentioned on numerous occasions, is my favorite book in my collection. So this book is very dear to me, and a book I would like to see finished one day. I am not in a rush to do it, but I am enjoying seeing this starting to fill up, and I love everything I've done in it. I don't think I really have had a bad page here. And the images, as I mentioned, are so beautiful. This is the last page I've done, and everything works really well in this paper. I have watercolor on here, pencil. I think I have some alcohol ink. I think I based her skin and her cloak in alcohol ink. It's just a beautiful book. And as I said, I haven't had one bad page yet, but I have done, at least a dozen pages. So if I can do 12 more, it'll start to really look full. So that is Wildflower Folk by Christine Caron. The next book is Creatures of Ken Matsuda. This is a brand new book for me. I colored 1 page in January, so I'm going to skip that. But it is such a stunning book. I saw flip-throughs and I saw that it was a beautiful book. I didn't realize how beautiful until I received it. It really is stunningly beautiful to me. Some of the images, not all of them, do have his version on the left-hand side, but most of them do not. Most of them are double pages. I did use watercolor on the page I worked on for January, and the paper does handle watercolor really well. I'm going to try to improve my watercolor skills with this book. And again, there isn't one page that I wouldn't do in this book. I'm going to say this over and over ad nauseum on how gorgeous all of these books are. So sorry about that, guys, but they are all beautiful books and I can't stop talking about them. So that's why they're on my 25 books to work on in 2025. The next book is Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Lederhall-Oberg. This is a fairly new book for me as well. I think I've only done 2 pages in here. It's a different style for me. I don't usually gravitate toward this type of folky art, but I really loved working on both pages. They were fun to work on. The paper is fantastic. This is what I did in December, and I altered this perhaps a little bit too much, but overall I still like the page. Yeah, I'm looking forward to working in this book some more. This is probably not a once a month book for me, but once every few months, I think I would really enjoy it. But yeah, so this is Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Lederhall-Oberg. Next up is a book I had not worked in a very, very long time. And I think it was December or could be November, we'll see when we get to it, I worked on a whip. And I forgot how much I enjoyed these images. I do have a love-hate relationship with this book. I love the images. I hate the printer because this book has sections, clumps coming out all over the place. So yeah, it's hard to keep together. I have a lot of whips in it, so I could work on that. It's just that it's hard for me when a book is falling apart to want to keep working in it, but I've already made a bit of a dent. I have heard that I think the European version or the British version is a better publisher. It's not only glue bound, it's glued and stitched, so it does not fall apart, but that would mean I would have to redo some of these pages, and I absolutely do not want to do that. This is very, very time consuming. Here's a 2-page whip. So like the pages that I have completed, another whip, but I don't know where the other page is because this is a 2-page spread. So that might be an abandoned page. But yeah, a page like this took me weeks to finish. So I don't want to redo it in a book that has better printing. So I don't know. Yeah, so I invested time already with this book. I've got several pages done. As I mentioned, I have several whips that I've started. This was the page that I did. It was November. Made me fall back in love with Kirby's images, and I think I want to continue it. So yeah, again, so frustrating when a book falls to pieces. I started acrylic paint in the background here, then got frustrated trying to go around all these chains, and I didn't do that great a job. But I will finish it. I like it so far. So yeah, that is Mythomorphia by Kirby Rosanes. The next book I'd like to show you is also a recent acquisition. That is Victorian Fantasy Collection. This book is stunning. I was a little worried. The other Asian coloring books I have to say I'm really not a fan of the paper. I don't know what it is about the paper that I don't really care for, but I like to use my pencils a lot, and it always feels like they get a very grainy effect on them. So not really a fan of them in general, but I thought I would give this one a try. And okay, the paper's okay. Yeah, I'm okay with this paper, but I've only done one page so far. And this is the page I did in December, and I really enjoyed it. I did use watercolor. It did come through on the other side. I got bleed through, a little bit of ghosting in here, up here, but watercolor seemed to come through a little bit. Yeah, so really beautiful book. So that is Victorian Fantasy. This was a little bit of a surprise to me that I was going to include yet another Japanese book. This is Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Agusa. Again, love-hate relationship with this book. I really love the images. I just don't like the paper. And I have some whips in here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but in spots, you could kind of see that my pencil just looked like it was over layered. And there's not a lot of layers on here. So yeah, 2 layers and I start to get this gunky look of it. And that's what I don't like. I did try basing some of it with watercolor. That exactly didn't help it. Didn't improve the texture of the paper. but the images are absolutely stunning. So yeah, this is another page I did October, I think this year, no, last year, because I don't have a date. So this is probably 2023. So I have like a handful of pages done in here. And for the most part, again, I did not like this page. I did base everything in watercolor, but still got that funny feeling by the second layer of my Prismacolor pencils. I don't know if I tried polychromos in here. That might be something that I do this year to see if that'll help at all. Again, the images are too beautiful not to include this book. So, you know, if I get, you know, once every few months a page in instead of one a year, I think that's an improvement. So I am going to include Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Agusa. Another recent book for me is this Colorful Time. I showed the one page, double page spread that I did for December, and it was this page spread. The paper is a little weird. It's a little rough, but the images are really nice and varied. These look fairly realistic, while some other pages are more sketchy line drawings. So I think that's kind of fun. Yeah, I think it's a nice book, especially if you want to try different styles of Japanese art. And yeah, the paper is going to be a bit of a challenge, but hopefully I will get through it, you know. But that is Colorful Time by somebody. Next up is Layla Dooley's Beautiful Planet. I've had this book for a while. I started watercoloring the front cover, and I really enjoyed doing that. I don't know if I'm going to continue it. I kind of like the effect of having some colored and some in black and white. I haven't done very many pages in it. It is an intimidating book. It does have a lot of detail. So you do need to invest quite a bit of time to any page. Well, maybe not these little vignettes, but you know, like look at this double page spread. This is stunning. But this would absolutely take me months to do. Even with a base of watercolor, I still think it would take me months to shade all of this. But I have seen people do beautiful, realistic pages. I don't know if I'm going to try to get that realistic. I did not in the page that, or 2 pages that I've done, try to get very realistic. It's just too much detail for me, I think, to try to do that. But yeah, I do enjoy the book. So that is Layla Dooley's Beautiful Planet. Okay, next up, I have Mythographic Wild Summer. It is a relatively new book for me, so I think I only have 2 pages done. I think this is absolutely adorable, this pig page, but I have seen a few people do it. So I don't know if I'll make it my next page, but it's a possibility. But as you can see, it is quite detailed. Yeah, that's a cute page too. This page I did in August. This was a buddy color. I'm not sure with who. Yeah, my memory's awful, guys. I hope I'm not going too fast. I just think that there's been a lot of flip throughs of this book. So I'm not sure you really need to see it again. But for those of you that haven't, and this is the page I did in December. And I really like the way it came out. I like that I did more unusual color palette for me. I don't very often use yellow. I definitely never used like an orange and purple clouds before, but it was so much fun to do. Yeah, so again, not a book that I would work in every month. This takes me a lot of time to do, even if I'm basing in alcohol marker or watercolor. This page I would love to do, but again, I've seen so many beautiful images done or colored that I need to get those out of my mind, so I'm not really copying somebody else. I mean, I'm okay copying someone else, actually. You know, isn't that like the, what did they say? The most sincerest form of flattery or something? So yeah, hopefully you find the same thing if it's your image that I'm copying. But yeah, I try not to though. I try to take inspiration without copying. But that is Mythographic Wild Summer by Joseph Cadenbang. Up next, I have Luna by Maria Trolle. I do like this book quite a bit. I've done a few pages, not a lot. I have a couple of whips. I think this is watercolor, actually, and it seems to take it really well. That I did in July 2024, and I was really happy that my tomatoes kind of look like tomatoes and not apples. There aren't really any pages in here that I wouldn't do. You know, like each month a different page kind of calls out to me, and I like being colorful in this book and adding a lot of color. I don't like limiting myself to a small color palette. I just love the look on her images of really just going nuts with the color. So yeah, I don't think I have any, yeah, I do have that one whip. So maybe I'll start with that. Like, I loved this page. I liked the orange and the pink bushes in the background. And yeah, that I think is the last page that I did. So I did a handful of pages. Oh no, one more. I did, you know, about 5 pages so far. So if I do one every other month, you know, that'll be 6 more pages in this book. So I think that would be a good dent to make. Now, next up, I have Hanna Karlzon. I actually have another Hanna Karlzon book on the side, which is my favorite, but these two were not the first books I got, because I think I did Joanna Basford, then I bought a Kirby Rosanes, and then I bought Hanna Karlzon, and I think I bought both of these books at once. And I like them both. They're both beautiful. She still is one of my favorite artists. I just don't know which one of these books I prefer. I think I sort of prefer Seasons because it's seasonal and I get to, you know, oh, okay, it's summertime, let me go pick that. Or, you know, Christmas time, since I don't have very many Christmas books, I was able to go there and do a Christmas page. But I think I actually prefer the images I've colored more in this book. This, I think, was the first image I did. It may have been a buddy color, or it was for a, no, it was for a hashtag. And I did this in memory of My Cat Rush, so I made her gray. And yeah, I enjoyed the page. I love the paper. This is one of my favorite images that I've ever colored of Hanna Karlzon. Yeah, so I think I prefer, that's a whip. I think I prefer what I've colored here better, but I think I've done probably, you know, close to the same amount of pages in each, you know, maybe, you know, 5 to 10 pages. This was an absolute disaster. I tried to use a stencil, then I got my hand in the paint. It just was a disaster, but I still like them. That was a buddy color with someone. This is a whip. I love the way this page came out. I decided to try to at least keep the background the same. I don't know why, because they obviously are not a double page spread. And then I stalled. I started this ugly color green down here, and yeah, I hated it so much that I stopped coloring it. I don't know, I just don't like it. So I gotta get rid of that green. I flooded this with watercolor paint, and it did pretty well. It, you know, yes, I was messy, it came through, but it also did bleed through to the other side in quite a few spots. So I'm going to have to either do a dark background here, and I don't mind like black, you know, dark blue or something on this side. So I'm not really too concerned with it, because it was fun to do this. It was some kind of hashtag of white lines, and it was really fun to do. This, I think, was the most liked page on Instagram, or one of the most liked pages on Instagram. And I was really surprised with it, because I didn't like it that much. And that was because I started making a lot of mistakes when I was coloring the hair, and just kept going over and over it with acrylic paint, and it kind of got messy, but I think I made it okay at the end. You know, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. But it is a beautiful book. I do have quite a few pages done in it. Love that page. That took me a lot of time, but I absolutely love it. So I did the nameplate page, and that's all I've done. So, you know, it's about 10 pages done. So yeah, it would be nice to get, you know, several more. It'll definitely make the book look full. Then I have seasons. I have some whips and seasons as well. I think I was just testing something there. Yeah, I do have more whips in this one. This just wasn't coming out the way I thought. Then I got really messy with the, I think this is the Tim Holtz Distress ink. It started going everywhere, and, you know, I think it may be an abandoned page, but I don't know, maybe come this Easter I'm gonna try, you know, maybe with some paint instead of the Distress ink, and maybe try to repair all of this blue, you know, because it is a beautiful page. I like that page. And I think I worked on this book more earlier in my career, because there's not one date on it. So that means it's prior to 2023. I really like that page. I think that came out okay. I love that one. But yeah, so you can see I have some pages done. A total disaster. I would really like to just cut this right out. I tried doing crackle medium. Oh, it was awful. I got a little bit of a crackle there, but it just melted the paint on paper. This is the most recent I did in November 2024, and I do like that page. But I don't know. Now that I'm flipping through, I do have more in Magical Dawn. Yeah, I think I'm going to do Magical Dawn, guys. Like I said, I like the format of seasons because, you know, I can do seasonal coloring in it, but I could probably make this work seasonally as well if I wanted to. So I'm going to pick the Magical Dawn over the seasons. And the other Hanna Karlzon book I have is Grains of Gold. This is my favorite of her books. I only have the 3. But of the 3, this is my favorite. And I think because it has more portraits in it, and it is a compilation book, so it has a little bit from some of her other books that I don't own. I think this is like spirit animals. It doesn't say it on the bottom. What happened there? Oh, wow. All the yellow is coming through after, because it did not come through in the beginning. But I love this double page spread. I absolutely love these 2 pages. Now, I have heard other people say that yellow over time can come through. So maybe that's what happened because there's so much yellow. But this is distress ink. And I find that when I put the water, sometimes it does bleed through. So maybe that's what happened and I'm just not remembering it. Yeah, it looks like it came through wherever I added water. I don't think I added water on this side, but I got some shadowing anyway, and that is from actually the pencil. Like the red, green, and blues kind of came through. It could also be the Jelly Roll glaze. The red came through on the other side. That's going to be a little harder to fix because it's on a face. But I could do a fantasy face here and do all different colors instead of making it look like a realistic skin tone color. But I really do like this book. And probably because it has so many different types of images. This is beautiful. I've seen this done by so many people and it is always gorgeous. I will try it at some point. Love this goose, but it is a double page spread. So yeah, I think this is a nice, oh, you know what? This is the page that I have in, I think it was in Seasons that I was saying, I don't know if it was abandoned page or not. So yeah, I have the opportunity to do it from scratch again. So maybe I'll do that this Easter instead of trying to save that page. I don't know. I hate to leave so many whips because I just, you know, like I mentioned, I didn't even know I had so many. Another beautiful page that I've seen so many times. Yeah, so that's all I've done. Is that all I've done? Oh, one more. I did her and I really liked her. I did her January last year. So again, oh, another one. I really liked him. This was September 2023. I remember being surprised that I didn't get very many likes on Instagram, considering how much I liked him. But yeah, maybe it's just his expression that I really like. So yeah, maybe this is a whip. I don't really care if I do this, you know, nameplate page very much. But I think I was trying pencils and paint on this. I could probably finish this little guy. So yeah, I'm going to do this. You know, if I get, you know, 4 or 5 more done in this book in this year, that would be great because I think I'm only doing like 1 page a year. Otherwise, it's not a book I work on very often, but I would like to increase the amount of pages I have completed in it. So that is Grains of Gold by Hanna Karlzon. Okay, the next book I have, I really like this book. It's very unusual. This is a panoramic fold-out book, and I've colored a couple of the panels. I did this one, again, no date here, so this is probably older, and I really like the way that came out. And then I did the back page, and I'm happy with that as well. So I do like the paper. This is a whip, or I started this, but it is stunning. And I think that when it's done, it would look absolutely amazing. So I would like to color at least a couple of panels more. I don't think I'll finish it this year, even though there's not that many panels left. But if I get a few more done, I'll be really happy. So that is Coloring Dragons by Pictura. Next is another different book for me, and this is Angela Harding's coloring book. This is very unusual. This style is definitely different from anything I have. I've done 1 or 2 pages in here. I like the paper. Yeah, I did that. And then, was that it? Maybe. yeah, so I've only done one page in here. I think with this book, I'm really just going to do mostly watercolor. And on the side here, there is a little thumbnail, not the whole picture, obviously, because this is really just a small section of the full image, but kind of shows you what colors she used. And it's nice to know. You know, maybe I would consider doing that color palette, but, you know, maybe not. So I like having these, though. And it does have them all in the back. Sorry, something happened to my camera there. I did rearrange the angle so that you can see this in the back in a 2-page spread. But as I was just mentioning, she does have all of the thumbnails in the back, which I really appreciate having. They are not only beautiful to look at, but they're a great reference point. I really like having them. So that is Angela Harding's coloring book. Next up, I have Coloring with Your Octopus. And this is by Brian Kessinger. And I really like this book. It is so fun. I won't show all the pages, but you'll get an idea that obviously everything is about her and her friend or pet octopus and all of these daily adventures they have. And they are absolutely adorable. So this is a book, and I love this page. He has an accident with his ink, so it's so cute. He's hiding. He feels badly that he, peed on the sofa and the floor. So I love that one. But I have done 2 pages in here. I had this book very early on, but was very intimidated to start it. You can see in some of them how much background there is. And that intimidated me. I didn't know what to do with all the background. But then I think I contacted her. I contacted Renee Urbans on Instagram because I think I saw that she did one. And that helped me start it because once I committed to someone that I would do a buddy color with them, I'm going to do it. So this was the first page I did. And I do really, really like it. I like how my octopus came out. I liked working with watercolor. This is like a watercolor acrylic ink on her dress. It's extremely metallic. And that I like as well. So really enjoyed doing the page. And then I did a second one I did in December. And I really like this page as well. I did a different color scheme on the octopus, and I rationalized that by saying that, octopi change colors depending on their surrounding. So I don't have to make him exactly the same throughout the whole book because that would be boring for me. Like sometimes it's nice to have that kind of consistency that you don't have to worry about, oh, what color do I make something? But at the same time, I don't know if I would enjoy doing that. So I decided to make him a different color. And as I said, I really like it. I added a lot of iridescent watercolor and glitter paint onto this page. Yeah, so I like this page. I didn't know what to do with all of this background. I don't know if I chose the right color, but I don't dislike it either. So yeah, that's what I'm sticking with. So this is Coloring with Your Octopus by Brian Kessinger. And if I get a couple of pages done in the year, so far in 3 years, I've only done 2 pages. If I get like 2 or 3 more this year, I'm going to be happy with that. Next up, I have Creative Haven's Autumn Charm by Teresa Goodrich. I'm more mood-driven colorist rather than seasonal, so I don't know why I haven't done more in this book. I understand that it's autumn, and I just have been pulling it out in September and October, but I've been so happy with the results all the time. I don't know why I'm staying that way. I think I want to work on this a few more times, maybe not in the, dead of winter, but, in the summer I can start working on it. I can work on it through November. I don't have to stay in those 2 months because the images are so beautifully drawn. And then I've been very happy with the 3 pages that I have colored in here. And I don't think it's just the color palette, because in this one, I stayed away from as much orange as I could, and I added more of these berry colors. And I think it still says autumn, and I think it looks really pretty. So yeah, I love this page. But again, I have seen so many beautiful colorings of this that I'm a little intimidated to try it. It also is one of my favorite pages in the book, and I don't want to screw it up. But I may give this a try after all, because I don't have to really make this autumn, do I? I guess I do, because the leaves are on the floor, because this literally could be a rainy April in New York, because we're still wearing coats because it's cold. But yeah, I guess it is autumn because the leaves are on the ground. So, but again, I don't have to stay in that color palette, or I can do autumn anytime I want. And another page was this one. I really like the way this one came out too. And then this was the last page that I've done. And this was done just this past November. And again, love it. Really, really like the way it came out. And I don't know if on this paper, it's because I'm basing everything with alcohol markers and then coloring on top, because it just feels like these are extra vivid colors. Like even my yellow seems to be yellower, pink is pinker. So it most likely is oh, I got one more. So I did 4 in 2 years. Okay, or 3 years. And this was the first one I did, and I really, really like it. I think all 4 of them came out beautifully. I'm gonna try to get a few more pages done in this book throughout the year. So that is Autumn Charm by Teresa Goodrich. Up next, I have Draumr and Vanger by Tomislav Tomic. I've done a few pages in here, not that many, another intimidating book. And, I'm realizing how many intimidating books I'm picking. And the reason might be because if I say that these are 25 to focus on, I might pull them out more and use this intimidation as less of an excuse not to color in it. I did this page January last year, 2024, and I really, really like it. I think it came out very pretty. So I like working in the book. It takes watercolor, pencil. I don't know what else I've done to it, but so far, anything I've done to it, it's come out really pretty. This page I also have watercolor on, and then did a pencil over the top. I don't have, this is September 2023. But you can see how detailed it is and why I consider it intimidating. I mean, look at that double page spread. That is amazing art. And I would like to do it, but it takes me so long. Now that I'm here, I think I'm going to mark this as my next page. I could do the winter now, and then I can do this page as either spring or summer. So I think I'm gonna start with this page this year in 2025. But yeah, this is such an enormous amount of detail. And I do like using watercolor with this paper and with these images. I think they lend themselves well to watercolor. All right, I can't find another one. I know I've done more than this. Sorry, I flipped through some of it so you get an idea if you've never seen the book, but I think most people have seen it. Here's another page. This was, think I misquoted before. This was the page that I got the most likes on Instagram. And I don't know why. I like the page. I do. It's pretty. But do I think this is the best thing I've put on Instagram? Yeah, no, I don't. I like the color combination. I did, contrasting colors. Then I got a little board, added some purple and some pinks in there. But yeah, so I like the page. I'm just not sure why it got so many likes on Instagram. And I think I've done 2 more. I took this book to Italy in October, and I worked on this page, and I really, really like this one as well. Then I joined a group with Christina's Art Corner. Then we had to suspend it because I'm not sure if we're going to stay, because they got burned out a little and needed a little bit of a break. So we might be going back to it this year. I'm not really too sure, but I really enjoyed doing this page. So then I decided to do the alternate page. They don't look like a double page spread to me, so I didn't feel the need to completely make them the same colors, but I did try to bring in some of like the pinks and purples into this page so that it maybe doesn't look like a 2-page spread, but kind of coordinates. And I absolutely love how this page came out. I did this just this past November. I used watercolor, pencil, a lot of the jelly roll glaze. I used iridescent watercolor, and there's not even a wrinkle in this paper. So it really takes water media well. So a fun book to work on, really beautiful artwork, and some really unique images. So that is Draumr and Vanger by Tomislav Tomic. Next up, I have Dunkelbunt by Sarah Richter, and another gorgeous portrait book. The paper is fabulous. It is really, really thick. I think you can hear that. It's very thick cardstock. It is very smooth paper, but it's also single-sided, so you could use alcohol markers if you would like, but some of the images are stunning. And one of the first pages I did this. It was some kind of hashtag. I don't think it was blue, but I think it was single color hashtag. And I enjoyed it. I don't know if I really would do a single color image very often, unless something really screamed at me that it should be done in one color. And I thought this one, because she was kind of like half machine, half human, kind of with these things on the face, that I thought blue would work. And I like the way she came out. As a matter of fact, I like everything I've done so far in this book. This is another gorgeous one. Then I did what I'm calling my creepy doll. I really like her. I did not get a lot of hits on Instagram on this. It could be because it's very creepy looking. I think she's beautiful. I think it looks really good. Yeah, I love her. And what did I use? Did I use any? Yeah, I based her face in alcohol marker and then shaded with pencil. And I think the hair I did watercolor and then shaded over with pencil. Then this is my absolute favorite page. Now, most of this was copied from Sarah Richter's original artwork. I think I did slightly different colored gold. I think I did different makeup, but this black and gold color scheme was hers. And so it was this smoke coming out of her mouth. And I flooded this paper with watercolor. And as you can see, not a wrinkle in the paper. I also based a lot in alcohol marker, but in the background, I wanted to do this variegated background where it kind of looks smoky. And I think it was successful, and I needed to use a lot of water for that. So I just started dripping water on it and, you know, trying to move the water around. And yeah, I really love this page. And I'm looking forward to doing some more in this book. Did I do anything else? Oh yeah, I do have one more. I have one more, and I really like this one too. And in this one, I did the watercolor background and then added, I think this was kosher salt because they're pretty big pieces. And I like the way that came out. It added a beautiful texture to the background. And I used a lot of pencil, a lot of gel pen to cover up the black lines. But yeah, so beautiful book. And that is Dunkelbunt by Sarah Richter. And again, I probably won't do a page a month because I'm already doing 1 or 2 portrait books per month. But occasionally I think I would like to switch this one out and use this instead of, like, let's say, The Garden Lady. And if I get, you know, 3 or 4 more in here, it's going to start to look full because there's a lot of images, but it's not an enormous amount. There's not like 50 images. And yeah, so that is that book. And that is it for my 25 books to focus on in 2025. There is one more. I don't know if I've picked 25 or this is actually 24 because in my book, I slated the new Kirby Rosanes book that's coming out March 18th, The Dark Fairy Tales. If I like it as much as I think I'm going to like it, I would really like to focus on that book. So that is my 25th book. I'll see what I'm going to do. I have to wait to receive the book. I've seen the cover. I don't think I've seen anything else, but it promises to be a gorgeous book. So thank you so much for watching this and for sticking around. And if you liked the video, please consider subscribing and giving it a thumbs up. So thanks again. Bye, guys.